Preparing to live stream the meeting. Bum, ba-dum. Means I need to bring my chair. You guys have that? Your office chair like slowly sinks down. So crazy.
Mm.
Ooh, this event is live. Says, sorry, you can't pair channels after the event has started. Okay. Thank you, Restream. I appreciate that. Hi, guys. My name is Kay Ross. I am the CEO of Owl Echo Entertainment. Although you probably know me either as a writer, producer, I'm also a director, on-screen talent. I like hosting things. That's basically the extent of my on-screen time. Um, and we're starting a thing. We're starting a thing called Biscuits with the Boss, partly because I love Ted Lasso, but also because I really love mentoring and I really wanted to be able to give back not just to my mentee, but also, in the event that anything brilliant comes out of our interactions, y'all can benefit from it as well. So joined with me today is my up and coming social media maven, Ari, who is my summer intern for this from just another couple of months now. I was gonna say, I have to stop talking for them to see you.
Sorry, just really quick. Okay, on Instagram, it's not doing speaker view. It's kind of just like the three of us. And
Okay.
it's,
Same thing with YouTube. I was going to say that.
so
Yeah.
it's not switching. So you and I are kind of cut off.
Okay, cool. How to do that? Do 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 do. Oh, thank you for bringing it up.
Look
Also,
on the top right, okay, where it says view, there's a grid,
mhm,
and then
you think
click
speaker
speaker
view?
view
Okay.
and see if that changes it for the stream. I don't know if it'll only change it for you or not.
They do have a multi-speaker as well. I wonder if I do that and then well, it says up to five. I was hoping that it would allow me to choose to. Thank you all for your patience as we figure this out. Because we're
There,
technical people. Figure this out.
speaker view works better.
Okay, we'll do speaker view. Done. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. For the record, I don't see it coming up on LinkedIn yet. Oh, there it is. And I will monitor LinkedIn. And I'm going to turn it on mute so that sweet. It won't let me mute it. There we go. Um, oh, Before I forget, I also wanted to say a special thank you to my virtual assistant from Victory Administration for being here and helping us moderate, since we have three channels that we are streaming live to right now. So Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And our wonderful virtual assistant from Victory Administration is helping us on YouTube. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with the awesomeness that is Victory Administration. It is a remote operations management company specializing in working with creative professionals. And as a creative myself, I have to just sing high praises. So be sure to check out Victory Administration. They do a lot of really great posts on Instagram. So that's where I would recommend you check them out. Um, all right. Without further ado, and especially since we started with Victory Administration, I'm kind of curious because I love hosting me a victory round. Ari, are you like celebrating any victories from your past week? Because, I want to help you celebrate.
Um, I think the main thing I'm celebrating this past week, I had my last dance competition ever. So, like the past 10 years, I've been competing. So, my last one, it was sad, but it's also something to celebrate, like the end of everything I've done so far.
Yeah, man. Oh, the end, but like, is there no is there no dancing in the future for like
Um, I'm not too sure yet. I'm still deciding. I mean, right now, like some one goal would be to start teaching. I'm kind of like done with the student aspect of dancing. I feel like something that would interest me more is definitely teaching. So
yeah,
we'll see how it goes. I'm gonna apply to a few places, so we'll see.
yeah, man. Well, cheers then to your, you know, ending on a high with your dancing. I know that was a lot of fun. Oh man, that's it's super cool, but it's also a little sad. But I'm only gonna celebrate the cool because, you know, sad happened in its own time. Uh, and I know I told you guys this earlier, but my victory came yesterday, actually. Our short film Sanctuary got a phone call from a programmer from one of the film festivals we submitted to, basically inviting us to submit to another film festival because we got into their film festival, but it doesn't screen until December. And he's like, well, we also program for this other festival and it screens in September, and we'd love to give you more exposure. And I was like, this is like a 2-for-1 phone call. So, more on that soon. I can't say more specifics, but that's the victory I'm claiming. Yeah.
Cheers.
Thank you. Look, this is why we do things like this, right? Because sometimes those moments in our life, like they're really big, but if you don't stop and like appreciate them, it can float on by and it doesn't become like a core memory anymore. So yes, allow me to help you memorialize that moment because it's important and it's awesome and it's exciting. So cheers to you.
Cheers.
Um, all right. Now, so clearly Biscuits with the Boss was kind of framed off of Ted Lasso, which the whole purpose of Biscuits with the Boss was always to get to know the boss so that they had some bonding time. So I fully recognize that mentor-mentee relationships, it can feel very distant if you don't get to know each other. So I leave myself open. What icebreaker questions may you have for me? I will happily answer.
Okay. So my first question is this your first time mentoring someone my age, like one-on-one, or have you had past experiences with that?
The short answer is yes. Um, in context of film and television, because my first job, I was a staff on a true crime docuseries. And you have to understand that my television career, my film and television career was my second career. So, I did professional theater. I was a massage therapist for 14 years. Massage therapy is what paid my way through school. So by the time I got to television, I actually moved really fast up the ranks. So within 6 months of that staff position, I was working with the production manager to develop their intern program. And part of that was because I nominated myself for all the hard conversations. I was like, you're going to get some jerks. And I think you're going to want other people in the room when you have to talk to them. And it's important that we talk to them because if you don't, the beauty of being in a safe space when you're learning is that you can have really hard conversations and feel better about having them because there's less at stake, right? Um, so the anecdote I'll give you as a yes to your question is uh, one of the interns we had, my first staff position, he clearly, and he was 18 or 19, he was, somewhere in that early college range. He clearly didn't want to be there. And like internships aren't guaranteed. So the fact that we're taking time out to, help him up and he's taking the time out to help us out, like there has to be at least a mutual respect there. And it was not good. So when we did his like mid-internship review, because we do a midpoint and an end point just so that we know that you're still getting value out of the time. I was like, I just need you to know that if this was a performance review for a paid position, you would be fired. And I need you to understand that because you have a choice in this situation. And I want you to take the reins of that choice. So after all the feedback we're about to give you, take the weekend. And I want you to think about whether or not you want to stay here, right? Because if you're not happy here and you don't feel like you're doing your best here, please do yourself a favor and stop wasting your time. And of course, he didn't come back. And whether it's by ego or by maturity, I don't care because it worked. And I'm glad that I showed up that way. So yes. And, um, and I really look forward to helping people at your stage, right? Somewhere between the like 16 and 24, we're making small decisions that have a big impact, right? Because I like encouraging the conversation, because it's harder as you get older and stakes get higher, it's harder and harder to have those kinds of conversations. And sometimes it's on you to start them. So how is that for an
That
icebreaker?
was great. Thank you.
I'm gonna throw it back on you though. Have you I at you're just graduated high school, right? And you're about to go to college. Have you had any other mentors in the industry? Like, how has that experience been kind of graduating, literally?
Yeah, so my last semester of high school, I enrolled in, it was called the practicum of business and media class, where basically I was assigned to a mentor, which is actually where I met Raven. So in that class, I was assigned to a mentor. Her name was Gia Peppers. She's an entertainment reporter. So I kind of got to study under her. I think what was my first assignment for her? I think my first big assignment for her, she has a podcast called The Healed Girl Era. Um, so for my first assignment, it was to make a research packet on Brandy, or just a research packet on a future guest. And I just she kind of just taught me like what it is to make a full research packet, how to thoroughly research and where to find credible sources. So that really helped me just with the whole research aspect. I learned a good skill from that. And then
Yeah.
from there on out, I helped with a little bit of social media. I know one of my assignments was to watch her podcast and do like clips or find clips that I think would do well on social media. So I did
Mhm.
some of that. And yeah, I basically just got to be under her wing for a few months, see like what she's doing and be inspired by her. And I think that was just a really great way to start off this whole thing. And then it led me to Raven, which led me to you. So it all worked out really well.
That's so exciting. And kudos to you, because I think sometimes it can be intimidating to work with professionals when you still feel like you have a foot in the door of high school and adults are kind of untouchable. Like it just shows a lot of bravery on your part. Yeah, man. Not that we're doing another victory round, but cheers to that. Like
Thank
that's really
you.
that's really awesome. And I just my 2 cents, I can also relate because when I was in high school, I was doing a lot of theater, but it wasn't until I started doing community theater that I understood how what I knew, like how valuable it was. You know what I mean? Like it makes you feel good when you know it in high school with your peers, but when you're able to employ it with professionals, like it does get like really it's a huge confidence boost. So I hope you feel that because I think you've earned it. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, it's definitely intimidating at first because um I just I was just like feeling like, oh, maybe there's some stuff I should know already at my age that I don't. So that was definitely a little intimidating, but Gia was like a really great first mentor, so it all
Yeah.
worked.
I'm so glad. I love that you could hear in your explanation of the how to. I was like, oh, this is such a big thing. Yeah, especially for teenagers and as you start moving into the professional world, like not just knowing your worth, but having that tangible skill and knowing like you can deliver a thing is so incredibly valuable because again, you can push back when the inevitable question comes up of like, what is it you do? And you have something tangible that says, I can definitely do this. Um, it's so worth it. The asterisk at the end of that, keep going. You're learning good things right now is just know that there's going to be a point where the how to shifts into the why for. Like, why am I doing this? And it's okay if you decide that what you have learned is no longer useful to you. So don't question that now, right? Like, ride the wave, do your best, like literally just add things to your bag of possible skills to pull from. And then at some point, you're going to have to look at your heart and look at your spirit and go, what's really worth my time, not just what's paying or what's interesting to me, you know?
Yeah.
Anyway, so I say that to say, keep going, give yourself grace as you potentially question. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. All right, now I gotta ask because I like me some icebreaker questions. And since you are a dancer, do you have like your top three dancer influencers online? Because I kid you not, during the lockdown, like dancers on Instagram saved my soul. They were so fun and so entertaining. But I'm curious, do you have a like a top three that you would recommend?
I'm trying to think. Honestly, this is gonna be sound so bad. Not like I don't really have a specific influencer I follow. I feel like it's more like dance studios that I've followed, like out of state dance studios that I love to like watch what they're doing. There's this one studio, this is so random, but I think they're in Indiana
Hmm.
or I think they're in Indiana. They're called Expressions Dance Studio. They're really, really good. Um, but yeah, I just like watching. They have a lot of dancers also, so they can make these like huge productions. So yeah, I also really like keeping up with Dancing with the Stars, if that counts. I like seeing them. And yeah, I think that's basically it.
I wish I had kept up with Dancing with the Stars. Every time I get like highlights from them, I'm like, oh, that looked like so much fun. And I was, much like sports, like if you're there when it happens, it's so magical. But yeah, like the Alfonso Romero when he did his dance, and like everybody knows the Carlton, right? And I was like, oh, what a beautiful moment for him to like resurrect that like magical moment from television in now this new magical moment in television. Like, um, all right, sold. I'll have to keep up with Dancing with the Stars. But don't forget to share with me that dance troupe. That sounds super fun.
Yeah, I will.
I feel like most of the people that watched were like two or three, but a lot of LA people, they'll like go to a location and just like do a coordinated dance there. So part of the fun of it is just seeing people's reaction as they pass by. Um, but they get really involved with like the costumes and the dancing's on point. It's really, really fun. Um, and of course, I don't remember anybody's name because my
You're on
brain, I'm sorry.
you're on the spot.
Yeah. Well, sometimes that happens when you're like in getting to know you conversations where you're just like, I know a thing. I remember a thing. I don't remember specifics, but luckily we work together and I can be like, oh, let me share you that video now. Um, and ideally, that's kind of the purpose of Biscuits with the Boss is so that the rapport is kind of the connective tissue between the spaces of getting work done?
Mhm.
I mean, that being said, do you have any questions about the industry that I could potentially answer for you?
Hey, so like I said, in high school, I directed my focus more towards like the film program there that they have there. Um, so with that, like I was able to talk to a few industry professionals, like since I've been like a sophomore, or since I was a sophomore, I got those opportunities. And I feel like junior year, when I was deciding what colleges to apply to or where I wanted to go, one of the questions I asked a lot of those professionals was like what film school they went to or like how did film school affect them. And like to my surprise, this is very surprising to me. They said like that they didn't actually go to film school. And I feel like a lot of the people I talked to almost like said they wouldn't recommend it. Where for me, I'm like, I feel like I need to go to film school personally, just because like right now I don't know what I'm really doing. Like I feel like the knowledge I have right now, I wouldn't be able to get a career out of it. So like I just wanted to hear your take on that and like what you think.
Ooh, girl, it's gonna last longer than 6 minutes. Like, um, I loved my film school experience. Now, part of that is because I went back as an adult. My first college experience straight out of high school, I only had 1 year, and admittedly, like my senior year sucked. My grandmother had died in the spring of my junior year. My grandfather died shortly thereafter, so my mother was grieving and ready to get me out of the house because like I'm a senior year. Like there was a lot of emotions going on, and then I had to leave because I was going to be staying in the dorms. Um and then I got to my classes, and I kid you not, my core curriculum, I was learning the stuff in those classes that I learned in like 8th and ninth grade, and I could not believe I was paying money to be there. It just, oh. Mm. So I think if you go to any college institution and you go because it's what you need, not because you're running away from something else, then you're already doing better than most people.
Mm.
um, because by the time I went back to college, and I always said it to myself, I'm going to make my own money so I can return to college on my own time and on my own dime and do it the way I want to do it. And I moved to Colorado originally thinking I was going to go to a private school called Naropa University, halfway across the country. It's in Colorado. And because at the time I was a massage therapist, and I thought I'm just going to expand on my massage therapy knowledge. And Naropa is built on Buddhist principles. So, like, all of their core curriculum is all about meditation and really understanding your own mind so that you can be present in pretty much anything that you learn or do. And it was cool until you looked at the private school price tag, and I was like, I'm paying my own way. This is not going to work. And at the time, I had just started making films again. And literally, what was going through my mind is, how am I going to afford working enough to afford this and going to school and still making films?
Mhm.
And then when I had my interview with the college counselor, he said, "Oh, I see that you're signing up for a degree in contemplative psychology. Does that mean you want to be a therapist or a counselor?" And I was like, "No." I'm a massage therapist. I already listen to people all day, and quite frankly, I'm good at it. I don't need a certificate that says I know how to listen. And then I
Mhm.
said, "In fact, I think I have something to say." And in that moment, I heard myself say it and realized, why am I here? Right? Like, logically, my brain said 2 + 2 equals, job I currently have plus the degree I'm seeking equals better life. But in the moment, I heard myself say it and went, that isn't actually what I want. So I took a step back and looked at what was feasible and what I actually wanted. And I found Colorado Film School, which, because I was registering through a community college, it was more affordable than a private school. Um, because it was through a community college, I could do a semester and pay out of pocket and figure out whether or not I wanted to stay. And for me, it was flexible enough to kind of dip a toe in before I made the commitment, which was great because in my first semester, I met incredible people. I was making films straight out of the gate. And and it gave me a sense of autonomy and authority that I had been seeking, because part of my issue when it comes to, and this is my issue, not everybody's issue, when it comes to schooling, is sometimes there's this sense of patronizing, like patting you on the head when you're in that state of not yet knowing and people patronize you. It almost feels like you can't fully digest the lesson because the patronizing makes you feel like they don't expect you to understand it, you know? So, not that that happens all the time, but when it happens, whoo, dog. Yep. Just gonna save that story for another day. So I say that to say, film school worked for me because I'm a hands-on kind of person, and it offered me hands-on. Film school worked for me because it was a community college, so the people who were attending were from all sorts of walks of life and ages, and so the people I was meeting, I felt like I connected to. And film school worked for me because, again, it was halfway across the country, so it allowed me to stop listening to the people in my life and start listening to myself. And so the overall benefit of film school and really college in general is that if you need incubation, right, something where you get a chance to learn who you are on your own terms, it will definitely provide that to you, right? The challenge that is always present the moment you start like working, right, or dividing your time, is that something is always pulling you in a particular direction, right? You're kind of constantly negotiating. So college gives you this like protective time where you don't necessarily have to think about it. Use it. Use that time, you know? Um, and side anecdote, I just have to say this. Colorado was so quiet to me because I don't know if you have this being from the West Coast, but like DC is loud. And I didn't realize how loud it was until I got to Colorado, where it was definitely silent. Which at first was very calming. And then I was like, I just need some background music. And I would play because the vibe of DC is R&B, right? Like regardless of whether or not you listen to it, the beat of DC is R&B. So I'd play R&B on a very low level just to like not get homesick, but it was enough, I didn't need to be in DC to feel it. I just needed, like a little safety blanket and then I could move bravely forward. So I say that to say like if it serves you, do it. Um And if you need that time to kind of hear yourself above all else, do it. The only other time that's really kind of available to you in your life to get that kind of incubation period is a sabbatical. And so very few Americans take sabbaticals. So, um, yeah. Oh my, I did it in 7 minutes. I'm so proud of myself. Okay. So I'm gonna stop talking. How does that feel to you? Like, did all of that make sense, or do you have any follow-up questions based on what I said?
No, yeah, it definitely made sense. It I don't know, I've heard different things about like film school and like whether or not it's like worth it, but in my opinion, I feel like I'm excited to learn a lot. Like in the next 4 years, I'm starting in the fall or in a less
Yeah.
than a month. So obviously, yeah, I'm excited. I think it'll be good. And I feel like I know everyone has different experiences, especially in the film industry. So I'm excited to see where I go from here.
Yeah, me too. I am excited for you. I will say that kind of the division tends to be if what you're learning is hands-on and how to, you can absolutely learn that online or on set, right? Like if you're an editor, you can just get some footage and practice and put stuff out and get better through practice, right? If you're a cinematographer, get on set, be a camera PA, right? And you can learn that through doing. In fact, you'll probably learn more through doing. However, at a certain point, you'll probably know how to run the camera. You may not know why you frame it the way you should, right? And so the big divide, and I'm only saying this as I come from a background of actors and educators. So the educator in me says, if you want to understand why you do something, you go to college because you have time to really digest that. If you want to know how to do a thing, go and do it. You will learn by doing. So there's going to be a general divide of that opinion just from that alone, right? And I think because of what you want to do, you're making the right decision because more like especially for journalism, you want to know why. Like, you know what I mean? You
Yeah.
have to unpack, yeah, the why behind your story.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, man. Oh, I can't wait for because next week I'm gonna have a guest for you, and she has some experience in preparing stories for PBS, and much like you, she was a rock star in her senior year, and very brave and put herself out there, and she did really great things straight out of high school. So, I'm excited for you to meet her. She's really
I'm
cool.
also excited.
Um, all right, with full recognition that I think we've hit our 30-minute. I think
Yes.
we've hit our 30 minute, so I kind of just want to wrap this up with a bow. I noticed that I didn't see any chatter on my end, which is totally fine. But in the event that there's chatter on any of the other channels, thank you guys for showing up and tuning in. Um, I think I was saying this earlier to my lovely group here, just that my biggest hope, other than, maybe you learn a little something about the industry or you enjoy the chatter and the social time, is also just to encourage you as viewers to reach out to your fellow humans. Because something that's been missing from my life is just having regular contact with people that I work with and feeling like we're a cohesive whole, right? We're a team. And some part of that team building, as Ted Lasso so beautifully put it, is just, you know, I hate saying it, shooting the shit, right? It's just getting to know you. So in an era of AI and all that beautiful controversial discussion, you can still make time for human connection. So with that being said, let's go get some work done, man. Yeah. And for those of you who are watching, I'll see you guys next week. Ari and I will be joined by a guest. So see you
Yes.
then.
Bye.
Bye.